Well, hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to Sci-Finatics. Well, today we're talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the new full official trailer that's just dropped, which shows a whole bunch of new shots from the second season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. We've got some cool scenes with Boimler and Mariner in there. We get to hear our new chief engineer, Pelia, for the first time. And there's a really good array of really quite interesting shots in this, which kind of lead me to believe we're up for a pretty exciting second season of the show. So we're going to go through these shots in the trailer one by one and have a look at them and see what we can work out in terms of what's going on in some of this imagery we get for the new season and talk about all of that stuff. So let's get into the trailer for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2.
You gonna start the engine sometime soon, Erica?
Don't worry, I did this 100 times during the war. It's like riding a bike.
Well, geez, it certainly looks like this shuttle is in a pretty bad way. But even though it looks really busted up and it's got bits of metal hanging off it, and Pike looks incredibly worried, I think he's going to need a new pair of trousers for his uniform when he gets back to the Enterprise. But at the same time, Ortega seems completely confident with flying this incredibly busted up shuttle that appears to be a complete wreck, with some pretty impressive maneuvers there to get them out of a bit of a tricky spot, it would seem.
I sense a tension, a feeling that something's in the air.
Oh my God.
Our job puts us up against death. And we might not like it, but we do have to face it.
Hold on to your saddles.
We've got a really pretty looking shot with the Enterprise here flying into what I'm guessing is Rigel 7. This establishing shot looks very reminiscent from the establishing shot in that original series episode, so I'm guessing this is the same place. As we did in Season 1, we've got some really glorious looking locations here. The Enterprise flying in amongst these huge giant trees and everything. We see some clips from the what I'm assuming is the time travel episode, which we've seen clips from before with Lan and Kirk, but it also seems like we might have Captain Patel on this mission as well, potentially. And they've got these citizens running around like a town square, kind of almost being a time travel episode. It looks like almost this town square type situation looks very similar to like Hill Valley 1950s or whatever, much like in Back to the Future. We've got a huge spaceship coming through the clouds there, and obviously a shot later in this little sequence of clips as well with Lan and Kirk looking over some massive explosion that's occurring, whether we've got some sort of alien invasion situation going on on a planet developed to about the level of sort of mid-20th century. It seems like it could be an interesting one. We've got Ortegas doing some fancy flying through a whole bunch of asteroids. We obviously saw in the previous trailer her sort of shooting a bunch of asteroids and doing some spinny maneuvers. This time we've got her flying in between asteroids as well, so that looks like it could be an exciting sequence. And again, with the Rigel 7 stuff, it appears we've also got Pike and Benga and everything maybe getting involved in a bit of fisticuffs or whatever. Obviously we saw in the original series episode Pike having a bit of a melee with that big bad-teethed barbarian type guy. It seems like we've got a bit more of that going on in this episode. And I love the production design. It's a very original series kind of look with that whole sort of medieval thing going on with the goblets and the fruit on the table. We often had a lot of locations in original series that kind of utilised that sort of somewhat more medieval design style. Obviously back at Paramount or whatever, back in there they had a lot of old medieval kind of set pieces in the back which they utilised quite a bit, and it looks like we've got a bit more of that going on in this episode. So that's a nice sort of hark back. Not to mention Pike rocking a shotgun or something very similar at the end of this sequence as well.
We are explorers. It's easy to forget how awesome that is.
That's the mission. It's what we love most.
I have this crazy theory.
I love a crazy theory.
What does this mean?
I don't know. Shut up.
Looks like we've got a shot here of Chapel and Spock getting blown out into space, and they doesn't appear to be wearing any EV suits in this, so I'm not sure how they're going to get out of this situation. It seems quite a precarious one. We've also got Spock walking in his EV suit on top of a really busted up saucer section from a Federation starship there. Obviously post Gorn attack, I think we see a Gorn tail or something creeping into shot in the background, so obviously the Gorn have completely decimated this starship, whatever it happens to be. We've also got Spock getting into the spirit of a bit of Klingon blood wine drinking. He seems to be getting into the spirit of that quite well in this little sequence. We also get our first bit of audio from Chief Engineer Pelia. Obviously we've got Carol Kane there delivering a line of dialogue in a quirky kind of style that we've sort of seen her with, you know, do many times before in previous shows that she's been in. So it looks like she could be a kind of a very eccentric, quirky character. And at the end of this very sequence of shots, we've got Chapel and Spock getting into a bit of a passionate moment here. And then obviously ending with Spock looking incredibly enthusiastic and excited, doing a few air punches there. It's very unlike him to put on such an emotional reaction, but obviously he's very pleased about something.
Do you know the odds of all of us being here at this time? It's improbable, and yet here we are, together.
Surprise!
We've got a lot of shots here of a lot of destruction and stuff going on. We've got some romantic shots between Pike and Captain Patel. Got a cool looking shuttle here, which seems like it is more like a runabout than a regular kind of shuttle. A bit bigger nacelles, bigger body section, a bit more of a TOS version of a runabout. A few scenes with Kirk interacting with Uhura. And of course, we get a really nice look at Boimler and Mariner appearing on the season, obviously, as their lower decks counterparts, but this time in live action. So I'm super looking forward to that episode with the Boimler and Mariner lower decks crossover. I think it's going to be good. And at the end here of this little sequence, we get a really very fast rapid fire shot of a whole bunch of different shots. So let's just have a quick look at those shots in a bit more detail. They just whizzed by so quickly we didn't get a chance to kind of see them in close detail. Got the Enterprise in a pretty close scrape with some asteroids here, and Pike falling to the ground wearing an air mask of some kind. There's Chapel and Uhura doing a bit of boxing. There's Chapel and Spock observing the destruction of a saucer section. Lan and Kirk having a bit of a romantic moment. An away team here in a crystal cave. Uhura doing a bit of a swagger. And the Enterprise doing a few 360-degree rolls with a Klingon battle cruiser in the background there.
Live long and prosper, Mr. Boimler.
You also live and...
And I love the shot at the end with, this is the one we saw previously that had been leaked by Crave or whatever that I did a video on last week, and where we get to see Spock in the transporter room giving the whole, live long and prosper thing to Boimler. And Boimler's obviously very starstruck with Spock there, so he's all flabbergasted, he's flubbing his words, and he sort of, you can tell he's kind of a bit awestruck by Spock. So that was sort of a nice moment for the end of this trailer here, and looking forward to seeing just how Boimler presents himself to Spock and Pike and everything. He's probably not going to cope too well. He's going to be a bit starstruck, I think. So there you have it. We've only got 3 weeks to go before Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2 hits our TV screens. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good season. I think they've taken a few big swings this season, and it looks like from what we can see in this trailer that there's going to be some really exciting episodes to watch. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sci-Finatics yet, please don't be shy to do so. Click on that big subscribe button to stay up to date and current with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. If you're able to, leave a super thanks. Really helps the channel out. Much appreciated. And also check out my merch in the merch store. There's always sales going on. There's some really great t-shirt designs, and pick yourself up a hoodie or a cap or a mug or something. And it helps support the channel as well. So much appreciated. I'll be back really soon with the next video. I'll catch you guys soon.